Ple Fernando, ¿cómo te le va? Today I'm going to be teaching you how to make these scratchy cards for Mother's Day or for any special occasion that may be coming up. So if you want to know how to do these, keep on watching. Begin by folding your paper in half, hot dog style. Using your scissors, begin cutting it into a shape of a heart. Now fold back and forth to try to get rid of that crease. Now pull out any writing utensil. I use my brush pens by Yobi, and I use the thick side, as you can see here, and I wrote down Feliz Dia de las Madres, meaning Happy Mother's Day. I pulled out some clear tape and I began to cover my card. I began to cut here to have this nice clear edge. Now using any tape left over, I began to cover the areas. I did this process all the way through the card. At the end, it looks something like this. And now using my scissors, I began to get rid of any air bubbles that were left over. To make the paint, I use 1/4 or something similar to that of dish soap. Then I added around the same amount of paint as I did with soap. Después, I used my paintbrush and slowly began mixing it. At the end, it should look something like this, more like a watery and paint consistency. Then using your paint, just give your card a nice coat. Make sure it has the tape or else this will not work. This is how it turned out, just let it dry. Now for the next idea, cut a rectangle or a square. Here I had to cut it down just a bit. Using my marker, I began to write happy birthday. And then I began to cover it with tape. Aquí I did the same thing and used some dish soap. Here I did the same thing. Instead of a red, I used like a more lightish purple or violet. Y empecé a mezclar. I forgot to record, but I did this watery or cake drip. And I began to cover it. At the end it looked something like this, and I just let it dry. But in the meanwhile, I began to do the same thing just to cover the sign of happy birthday. I used some dish soap and some yellow paint. And I mixed again. Read what I wrote down with the paint, so at the end it looks something like this. And I let that dry. Now, using some yellow paper, I began to cut the flames of the candles. They don't have to be perfect. I then attached it, and at the end, this is how they turned out. Now, using a coin, just scratch the surface to reveal the message. I really like this idea because it was fun. Remember, this is just my idea. You can make anything you want, and I'm pretty sure it's going to turn great. I hope you liked this crazy idea. If you did, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification button so you don't miss any of my future videos. And see you next time. Adios. Bye.